welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my personal experience with applying a skin to a Nintendo Switch console. I got this console about 2 months ago just to play Animal Crossing, yes, and I've been playing it a lot, many hours a day, and I figured it could use a pop of color and some protection from my hands. You want to start out with cleaning the screen of your Switch. I already have a glass screen protector on mine, so I'm using a lens cleaner just to make sure there's no smudges and dirt and oil on there. And I'm also cleaning the body of the Switch with the same lens cleaner. And the reason why I'm doing this is because 1, I'm lazy, and number 2, it's a mild enough cleaner to use on the rest of your Switch. I highly recommend staying away from anything that is alcohol based, as that might damage the plastic coating on your JoyCons or on your screen. Q-tip just to get around the nooks and crannies of the buttons, and I'm doing this because in all honesty that's where your thumbs are and your fingers are most of the time, and if you're a normal human being you are definitely putting sweat and oils on there, so just to make sure just to clean all that off so that the skin has the best chance of adhering to your Switch. So this is a skin that I bought off a seller on Etsy. It came from the Ukraine, so it took 2 weeks to get here, but I really appreciated that they included 2 sets of the same skin, just in case I messed up my first application. So they included a bunch of instructions, a plastic card to help you apply it, and alcohol wipes, but we won't be using that. I really like this skin because of the colors and also the watercolor-esque design and the geometric shapes. So first off, you're going to want to take off the Joy-Cons from the console. It just makes the application process so much easier. So here I am peeling off the front skin for the console, and because this was my first time, I was not intuitive enough to peel it in such a way to leave the negative space on the sticker sheet, so I had to spend a couple extra minutes poking out the ports and vents with a toothpick. But if you go slowly enough, most of those should stay on the sticker sheet. So avoid my mistake. Once that's ready, it's helpful to have a second person help you with this process, just holding the console up so that you can focus your efforts on lining the skin up with the ports and vents. It's not impossible to do it by yourself, but it helps. I did have a glass screen protector on here already, and so you'll notice that I'm spending quite a bit of time here making sure that the skin is adhering along the edges, and the reason is because the raised edge from the glass screen protector is kind of lifting up the edge of the skin. So I spent quite a bit of time here just using my fingers to really press the skin onto the console, and it's nice to have a hairdryer ready, or better yet, someone to hold the hairdryer so that you can spend that effort and time holding the skin down. But what the heat does, it makes the skin more malleable and it kind of melts the adhesive so that it sticks to the console better. Moving on to the back skin, you'll notice that I peeled it off much more slowly and deliberately this time to make sure those negative spaces stay on the sticker sheet. I used the 2 vents at the bottom to help me line up the rest of the sticker. So those 2 vents at the bottom and also the kickstand, those are the things that I used to help me align the sticker. The application is pretty simple, except this time I will have to admit that I did end up with a couple bubbles here because it's such a large piece of skin that bubbles were kind of inevitable. And although most skin applications look pretty flawless in photos, it's pretty impossible to have a super clean application because you'll encounter bubbles, and on areas where it's curved, like on the JoyCons, you'll have some wrinkling there just because the curvature of the device makes it hard for the skin to really lay smooth. Try and get rid of the bubbles here, but the reality is that I still have bubbles on my skin to this day. They're pretty small and minimal, and having a hairdryer handy will help minimize some of those bumps. But the reality is that using a skin, you will end up with some bubbles somewhere. I recommend using a skin that has a pattern on it. It hides the bubbles much better than a solid color skin would. So that's just my personal experience. It's really unnoticeable in my opinion, and I plan on putting on a clear case on top of the skin anyways, so anything like texture and any of that irregularity is going to be a non-issue for me. Looks pretty good, so we're going to move on to the JoyCons, which is the most difficult part, unfortunately, just because there's so many buttons and the curved surfaces, as I mentioned before. Not only that, but for this particular skin design, the JoyCon skin is actually a single piece that wraps from the front to the back, so you want to make sure that all the buttons are lined up so that there is enough material to align to the back side. And what I found helpful was I was using for the left side JoyCon, I was using the capture button as well as the minus button at the top to help me figure out where the skin lays. And then I just aligned it along the straight edge of the JoyCon. But one tricky thing that I encountered during this process was that there is that curved area right beneath the left and right trigger where your index fingers usually go, and that area is again curved. So it's the flat skin is really not meant to accommodate. So what you're gonna see me do here is I'm going to hit that area with a lot of heat. It's going to melt, not really melt, but it's going to really soften that skin final material so that it forms to that curved area much better. So don't be afraid to pull on the skin a little bit to get it to stretch, especially when you're wrapping the backside down. And as I said before, the curved areas along the JoyCon, especially at the bottom where the two curved edges meet along the bottom and the side, you're going to encounter some wrinkles there. And as I was moving from the left to the right Joy-Con, Eugene would be working on smoothing out the ones that I had already finished, or working on the console area, just to add more heat and smooth things out a little bit better. Next, you're going to want to peel off these small rectangular pieces that are supposed to connect the gaps between the front side of the Joy-Con as well as the back side. This is pretty easy and straightforward, since there's nothing you really have to do except just center that piece along the front and back parts of the skin and minimize that gap so that none of the color of the Joy-Cons beneath are showing.
Hey, I'm okay, you know. I may not look it, but it's all good.
Alright, applying the skin for the other side of the Joy-Con, it's the exact same thing. You're just aligning it along different buttons. You're doing the home and the plus sign button now. One tip I will give though is that you want to leave that sticker backing that you peeled the skin off of in front of you, so that if you need to set something down or maneuver, you're not letting it touch the table or whatever surface you're working on. Done. I will say one thing that I did not mention before. Do not put the kickstand skin on until after you've put the back skin on. All right, that's my last tip. And that's it. Looks pretty neat. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.